Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Tej, and today I'm be showing y'all how to make a beat for Lil Baby, NOODAH05, and EST. The vibe I was going for was kind of like that orchestra vibe that Section 8 and Chi kind of go for, so like real fast, sort of repetitive melodies and with some really hard drums. And I made the beat from scratch, so I'll be breaking down everything through the loop and the drums. And as always, I'll have the full beat played at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. And with all that out of the way, let's just hop right into the beat. Alright, so hopping into our first melody, the first preset I grabbed was this LA Custom Grand Piano preset from Omnisphere, and then I went in and I put this chord pattern with some bass notes. So all this chord pattern is just using the G minor scale, and I just drew out the G minor triad, or just basic G minor chord, using the 1, 3, and 5 in the scale, so G, A sharp, and D. All I did is I copied that over 3 more times, and then for the second and the fourth rendition of it, all I did is I made it a sustained chord. So all you do is you just take the 3 in your scale and you move it down a half step. So in this case, I'm moving my A sharp down to A. And for this chord right here, it's just the same thing except for moving that D up to a D sharp. And the bass notes I kept pretty simple. All I did is I just followed the pattern of using the 1, 6, and 5 in the scale. So started off with G, then D sharp, and then D, and I just added these lower bass notes just to add some more depth to it. And then after I had all that, I hit Alt R. I just used this tab right here and adjusted the velocity as needed just to make it sound a little more realistic. Alright, so after that, I grabbed this LA Custom Wash piano, and this is where I put in my higher pitched piano melody. So to deconstruct it real quick, all I started with was this right here, and I went to the 1/3 beat tab and I penciled in these notes. Again, I just used the D minor scale and I just constructed melody using that. So these first 2 notes were just kind of accent notes. For these right here, I'm just using the G minor triad once again, and it's different variations that I showed before, except I don't have the root note, which is G. And then again, I'm just kind of copy and pasting that over for the full 8 measure pattern here. And once I had that done, I penciled in this top melody right here, which just kind of rings out in the background a little bit. So with our first melody, we got something that sounds like this. So now moving on to our third melody, I added some strings and I got this Adagio Espressivo preset in Omnisphere, and I went to the A tab right here and I turned the attack down so that way there's less of like a swell to it and it just hits a little more directly. And so it looks a little crazy, but all it is just this lower pattern right here, just copied up an octave and with the velocity turned down a little bit. If we go in and take a closer look, again, I'm just using that G minor triad, G, A sharp, and D, and changed it to the different variations so that they would correspond with the chords in our first melody. So the strings paired with our first piano melody, we got something that sounds like this. So next I added the sub bass sound that I created. And this will be a part of my next drum kit, so stay tuned for that. And then I just went in and copied that bass pattern right here with the piano notes, and I just copied them into this pattern. After that, I rendered those out as audio clips and I arranged it a little bit. I opened up into a new FLP. I ended up adding one more melody to what I had so far, so I'll break that down before we go into the drums. So for my last melody, I'm using that Adagio Espressivo preset from Omnisphere. In my new FLP, the rendered out melodies are pitched down 1/2 step. So the new key of the sample currently is F sharp minor. Now that we got our sample together, I'm going to start going to the drums. So the first thing that I got was this clap snare combo from my upcoming drum kit. And then after that, I added this triplet hi-hat, typically in the tempo range that I'm in right now, so like the 120 to 145 tempo range. A lot of these beats that like NOODAH05, Baby, and ESTG use are usually using like these triplet beat patterns. It's just using this bass 1/3 beat pattern right here, so just taking again 1/3 beat, snap setting, and then just paintbrushing the notes in. For this pattern specifically, I believe I pulled in a hi-hat MIDI, so with what do we got so far, this is what our hi-hats sound like. And then I added this Southside open hat. And then I got my second open hat sound. And then next I put in the snare pattern. All is just that real simple snare pattern we got right here. And then adding these highlighted rolls right here using the 1/2 step snap setting. And again, just using that paintbrush tool to draw in the rolls. So coming down to the final stretch for this beat right here, I added the first of my 2 808 patterns. As you can see, it follows the bass pattern of that piano and the sub bass pretty closely. And I believe pretty much most of the rolls that I used are once again using that 1/2 step setting. And then here's the second one. It's practically the same as the first one, except I just added a bunch of rolls here at the end. And I believe these are using the 1/6 beat setting and just kind of chopping them up how I felt like it and just adding some more variation to my 808s. And then lastly, you already know I had to add that kick just to add a little more punch to that 808. Alright, so that's all I got for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you're able to take something away from it. Leave a like if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And that's it for this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Yo, Tez, what's up?